All right. Hello. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today on today's workshop. My name is Derek Rose, and I serve as a training coordinator for the California Transition Assistance Program here at the California Department of Veterans Affairs. Today, our workshop is going to be covering employment services and opportunities. We have a lot of great information to share with you today regarding the benefits and services and resources that are offered to veterans and their families here in the state of California. And then we're also going to be exploring our specific employment services and opportunities by reviewing our employment pathway through the CalTAP program. So we really just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for your participation in today's webinar. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Just some general housekeeping for the day. We do ask that if you are not one of our guest speakers to please keep your cameras off and your microphones muted during the presentation. This just helps eliminate some of the distractions and saves on bandwidth for the rest of the presentation. Again, my name is Derek and I work as a CalTAP training coordinator. I'm also joined by my colleague, Jana Adams, who's one of our hosts. Jana is going to be managing some of the back-end functions. She's going to be managing our chat feature, sending out some links and resources as we're going along. And she's also going to be managing our Q&A portion. So during the presentation, if you do have questions about anything that we're covering, do encourage you to utilize that Q&A tab. Jana is going to be sending out information through the chat feature just to follow along with, but if you have direct questions, please use that Q&A feature. This just allows us to field those questions and the right person can view those questions and either answer them on the spot or we'll allow some time at the end to kind of review those questions and review those. So let's go ahead and begin with an overview of the CalTAP program. Exactly what is CalTAP? It's designed to inform and connect veterans of all eras to their earned federal and state benefits and provide assistance as those needs change over time. We do know that not all veterans' needs are the same, whether it's based on the age of the veteran, where that veteran may be living, what era or period of service that veteran served in. So the way that we've designed our program is through our Pathways program. And you can see what each one of those pathways are. Everything from our core curriculum, which is basically Veterans Benefits 101. It's what exactly are my benefits? How do I file claims for service-connected disability? How do I enroll in the VA healthcare system? And we're going to unpack that just a little bit today, specifically about the California benefits and services. And we also have our additional pathways, but we're going to focus today on that employment pathway. But as you can see, if you're kind of transition or your next step or your, next area that you go into falls within one of those categories, we have designed our self-paced learning module curriculum for you under each one of those pathways. So we're going to be sharing some of that as we go along as well. I would also like to give a plug for our California Veterans Resource Book. This is a great tool to keep handy. It basically covers all of the benefits that you're entitled to, whether it's federal, state, local. You can find all of your local offices in there, and it really kind of goes over all of the high level detail and eligibility criteria for everything that we're going to be talking about today. So if you don't have a hard copy, you can always reach out to us directly and request one. And then Jana will also be dropping a PDF version, a link for you to be able to download this and keep this handy with you as we're following along. So how to find our program and services directly on our website. This is the CalTAP page, or this is our main page through Calvet. And then you can just click down right there on the right-hand side where it says CalTAP, and that will bring you to all of the pathways that I mentioned in the previous slides. So anything from our education services, employment that we're going to be talking about today, entrepreneurship, and our veteran service providers pathway as well. But for right now, we kind of want to open up that first one, which is the core curriculum pathway. And that's going to give us basically an overview of all of our benefits. There are several modules that you can navigate, anything from, like I said, healthcare, claims and compensation. But for right now, we want to kind of focus on that module 5, which are the California specific benefits that are offered here on a state level. So exactly what are my benefits? You may be already familiar and utilizing some of these benefits, but if not, hopefully this is some new and useful information for you. So we offer a college tuition fee waiver for veterans' dependents. If you, as a veteran, have a service-connected disability with the VA, even if it's as small as a 0% rating, your child can attend any CSU, UC, or California Community College tuition free here in the state. So that's a great benefit. It saves veterans, thousands of dollars in tuition every year for their children. So I do encourage you to, assess your eligibility for this if you're in the process of getting a service-connected disability or you're working with the VSO to obtain a rating. We do encourage you to, take, full use of this benefit if you do have that eligibility. Also, we have a few DMV programs. There's the designation on your driver's license that just allows you to have the word veteran printed on your driver's license. This is just a great way to show your veteran status out in the community, whether it's for local discounts or services. It's just another way to show that designation instead of having to carry your DD-214 around you with you everywhere you go. Motor vehicle registration fee waiver. If you have a disability that's rated at 100% and that disability somehow limits your mobility, with a physician's signature, you can qualify for a disabled veteran's license plate. And then having that disabled plate will then waive your registration for that one vehicle only. So another great program that's offered here in the state if you do have that eligibility. Continuing on, fishing and hunting licenses, you can qualify for a reduced fee, as well as a free state parks pass that allows you entry and use of all the state park facilities cost-free. You do have to have a 50% disability rating for that benefit specifically. There is the disabled veteran property tax exemption. If you have a 100% total and permanent rating, you can apply through your county assessor's office to have a portion of your property taxes exempt. So that's another great benefit to save you some money long-term if you own a property. Business license fee exemption. If you wanted to sell any goods or services and you needed to obtain a business license, you should always check with your local office that issues that license, whether it's a city or a county, to see if they will honor that exemption for you. So just another piece of information to take with you. So some of the other work that our department does and some of the divisions that we have, of course, Veteran Services is our division that operates all of our programs and our outreach and trainings to veterans and their family members here in the state. That's where CalTAP falls under. We also have a terrific home loans division. Calvet actually does have its own home loan program called the Calvet Home Loan that uses your VA home loan eligibility, but where Calvet actually serves as the lender, the direct lender on for that mortgage or for that loan that you're applying for. So if you're interested in home ownership, we can put in the links and resources there for you to see why reaching out to Calvet may be a good option for you if you're planning on buying a house. Additionally, we have our women's veterans and our minority and underrepresented divisions here at Calvet. They do a lot of great research, or I should say not research, outreach and advocacy for some of our underrepresented veteran communities here in the state of California. Calvet also operates 8 veterans homes for long-term care. These homes have a wide range of care, all the way from independent living through skilled nursing facilities. So if that time of need does come for yourself, or perhaps a friend or a family member who's a veteran and they do need that extended care, you can always reach out to us directly and we can provide you more information on the veterans homes here in the state. And lastly, Calvet operates 3 state cemeteries. You may be familiar with the National VA Cemetery Administration and where some of those cemeteries are located. but Calvet also operates 3 on a state level as well. So again, if that time of need does come for a friend, family member, please note that Calvet is here to serve them, whatever their needs may be. All right, so additional ways that you can stay connected with us through the CalTAP program. You can always reach out to us directly via email, provide your name and contact information, and that way we can plug you in to some of our updates, get you connected to our monthly newsletter that we're going to be sharing. And you can always register through our webpage for a My Calvet account. This account just allows you to create a profile for yourself to where you can stay up to date through benefit information, through news updates, and just really stay connected through us directly. You can always follow us along on social media. That's where we post information for all of our webinars that we're hosting in the future. We host a lot of different webinars on a wide range of topics. And we host these monthly. Every month we kind of have a different theme of what we're focusing on. So we do encourage you to follow us along and register for those upcoming events. And we're also going to be sharing a survey throughout the presentation. This survey is just a quick QR code right there on the bottom. So if you have your smartphone, you can just scan that QR code right there. We'll also drop a link in the chat. We do value your feedback just to make sure that these presentations are the most relevant and valuable for you as an audience. So we do appreciate your time and feedback on that. All right, so this is the My Calvet, how to register for My Calvet. You can just click on there, create a profile for yourself, just put in some basic information, and that's just an additional way that you can stay connected with us. This is our monthly newsletter. Like I said, every month we kind of have a different theme we're focusing on. This month is employment, but this just kind of has a message from our Deputy Secretary, Keith Boylan, and it also showcases where our workshops are, whether it's virtual or in person. We do a lot of traveling throughout the state to military bases and schools. So if you're close by and you want to come see us in person and talk to us directly, you're more than welcome to register for those events and attend in person. So just wanted to share that with you all again. All right, so I know that was a lot of information in a short period of time. I will be back again on shortly, but this is my direct contact information. You can always reach out to me directly. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Cole, who is our Northern Valley link, and he's going to talk about some of the outreach and work that he does in our North region. So Cole, it's all yours.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Derek. Just a quick introduction for myself. My name is Cole. I'm an Army veteran. As Derek mentioned, I'm the local interagency network coordinator. That's kind of a long title that's meant to make this acronym that looks like a word, which is LINK. And so I am the link for the North Valley of California. If you hit the next slide, please. So what the link is, it's a local person who works for Calvet, who lives in the area, who connects veterans and their families to resources and connects those resources to each other to make sure that we're delivering these services as efficiently and as effectively as possible throughout the state. As you can see from the map, California is such a huge state, not only geographically, but by population wise. And sometimes it can be really difficult to navigate those veteran service landscapes throughout the state because they are vastly different depending on where you live. Just the availability of resources and who to contact for what. And so Calvet has the LINK program where we have these 8 regional coordinators that can be a point of contact for you or your families to reach out to and kind of help direct you to where you need to go to get these resources in your area. As you can see here on the screen, there's an email address for every single one of us. Jana, I can see, put a PDF copy in the chat here, so you can download that to your computer if you'd like. But my region is up there in the north of California, far north there in the orange. And so if you live up there, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to chat with you and answer any questions you might have. If you live anywhere else in the state, as you can see, there's somebody there that's going to be super helpful for you and always wanting to be there for you. Next slide, please. Some of the things we do outreach events where we're in person talking to veterans, service members still in and their families. We're making those referrals to those service providers. So we work quite a bit with other service providers to make sure we know who we can contact and put veterans or their families in touch with in that service. We do a lot with local emergencies, as far as the state's Office of Emergency Services, making sure veterans are able to access their benefits even in an emergency, and then also advocacy and leadership within local communities, making sure that veterans in different areas throughout the state are able to organize themselves and make sure that we're getting the word out amongst our peers. Next slide, please. Some of the folks we work with a lot, we work with the Employment Development Department. There's another program called Work for Warriors that we work with quite a bit that's run by the National Guard. We work with the county veteran service offices in each county in California. We work with the VA medical centers and vet centers. We work also a lot with the schools, colleges, community colleges, throughout the state. So there's kind of a really wide range of folks that we interface with a lot. In addition to like all these great nonprofit organizations that are doing awesome stuff for veterans throughout the state. Next slide, please. So this is all my contact information. My cell phone is on there, my email addresses. If you really have a question, especially if it's related to like Northern California, please feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, if you have anywhere in the state question, I can either link you up with your local area connection, or I can answer that question too. I'm always happy to help. Like I said, that's my cell phone number there on the bottom. So it's always right by my side. So happy to help. Really excited to be here. I love these CalTAP events. They're super helpful for getting this information out. So I appreciate Derek and Jana for having me on today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cole. And I'd just like to second that, Cole is just a wealth of knowledge, and he's definitely our boots on the ground, specifically out there in Northern California. As you can see right now, he's literally boots on the ground. He's joining us from his vehicle. So that just shows his dedication and just, how busy he is out there with his outreach and services. So Cole, we thanks a lot. We really appreciate your time. Appreciate it. All right, so we're going to continue. We're going to dive into our employment landscape. Our employment pathway is one of our pathways that I mentioned in our introduction, but we want to spend some time to just kind of unpack this for you a little bit and kind of show you kind of how to navigate through these services and kind of how to link up with us and really show you some of, kind of dive in a little bit about what the employment pathway entails. So as you can see, you can find us right here on our website. Again, navigate each one of those pathways. But for employment specifically, if we opened up that pathway, you can see that there's 8 different learning modules within that pathway. We're not going to dive into each one specifically, but you can kind of see what each one of those are. It's anything from just kind of how to do an initial appraisal of your skills and abilities, also marketing with resume techniques, whether it's developing that starter or that master resume, and then learning how to tailor that into a targeted resume, how to be efficient in your actual job search and, search for those veteran specific hiring opportunities that we're going to kind of talk about. And also we do spend a lot of time and kind of dive a little bit deeply into state employment, and we're going to kind of navigate that today. And that's kind of what we're going to focus on. So if you're interested in getting a job with the state of California, we are really a great resource to kind of walk you through that and kind of show you the steps to be successful. So you can see additionally what other modules there, but those are all there for you to kind of navigate at your leisure and kind of go at your own pace. So let's just start by kind of doing a snapshot of some of the projected employment, related to industries here in the state of California. So this is just a graph to kind of show you visually of kind of what to expect and what industries are leading the way. So kind of self-explanatory right there. So you can see what industries, whether it's transportation industries, professional and business services, education and healthcare are kind of leading the way. But this is, not specific to your skills and your experience, but this is just a snapshot through the Department of Labor to kind of show what industries are leading the way at the moment. So when it comes to your actual job search, and specifically with veterans, now this could apply if you're just recently out of the military, or you've been out of the military for a little while. But you really want to kind of have a long-term approach because, specifically, let's talk right when you're separating active duty, right? So we all want that next job that lines up with our current pay grade from the military. That just makes sense, right? But you just kind of want to think about the competitiveness of that market. So maybe the higher you ranked in the service, maybe that means you just need to take maybe one step back to get your foot in the door initially, and then just navigate your way from there. So competitiveness, right, of your market as well, maybe based on where you're located. If you're separating active duty, or you've already separated in a high veteran population, such as San Diego, there's a lot of other service members who are looking for jobs in that market. So maybe that means that you're still willing to relocate, right? As service members are kind of used to transferring every couple of years and kind of uprooting. So maybe relocation is still on the table for you. But that's not for everybody. We all have home life and family life, right? In our jobs that we may currently have. But overall, the message is just to not get discouraged, stay positive, and you'll always find your place. So let's talk specifically about state and federal employment. I think we're going to begin by just kind of doing an overview of federal employment and just really specifically about how the job search and application process goes. We're not going to dive too deep into it. We're going to focus a little bit more on the state side, but this is basically just a high level process that goes into it. So you can always start with USA Jobs, and that's going to allow you to create a profile for yourself, a login ID, and that's where you can go to search for the jobs and review those job announcements or kind of the duty statement for those positions. So definitely always encourage you to review the duty statement through any job posting and really translate your skills and abilities to those job announcements. That's where USA Jobs is where you can go to kind of upload all of your job history and your job your job application, whether it's a certain template that you want to use for your job search. And that's where you can go to submit your application directly. And then from there, the agency will review your application. If you meet the qualifications and have followed all of the necessary steps, then they begin the interview process to where they would put you through a round of scheduled interviews, and then they'll hopefully select a candidate and make you a job offer. So do encourage you to, review USA Jobs, get familiar with USA Jobs if you're considering federal employment for your next step. The federal government does offer a veterans preference. It's a little bit different than the state's veterans preference. I'll talk about that coming up, but you can always go to Feds Hire Vets. That's Feds Hire Vets to download that veterans preference form. And I believe you can either mail it in or just submit it through USA Jobs to qualify for your veterans preference. Some additional helpful resources specifically for federal employment. The Department of Labor has a great resource on how to write a federal resume. A federal resume is typically a little bit longer. It covers a little bit more of your job experience. So you kind of want to focus on that and really have an understanding of how a federal resume is different from a state resume or even a private sector resume. Career One Stop is another great resource for you as well. Resume guides, job search assistance, a few more resources for you, Resume Engine, and definitely Military Skills Translator, because that's a great way to translate all of your experience from the military with all of those different job titles and acronyms that military veterans are so used to, but not necessarily private employers. And you can always, you should always have your VMET handy, which is all of your military experience and training to show any additional qualifications that you may have. All right. So state employment. All right. So I myself am a state employee. most of us on this call joining me today, our colleagues are state employees as well. So this is really where we kind of put a little bit more of our focus. So if you are considering working for the state of California, why would you? Why would you want to work for the state of California? Well, it is the largest employer in the state of California with 150 agencies and state departments to choose from. And those agencies are located all throughout the state, anywhere from, Del Norte County all the way down to Imperial County. There's a state agency overseeing some state service or state function where you may be. A lot of geographical locations, and you got to think of all the agencies, whether it's Cal Fire, Department of Corrections, Highway Patrol, Fish and Wildlife, state parks. There's just a whole, an array of different agencies. And, if you have specific interests or experience, you can apply those to a lot of different agencies for good career opportunities. There's a great salary and benefits package. Like I just mentioned, a lot of opportunities and stability. So basically, once you've established yourself as a permanent state employee, you're basically guaranteed that position long term. So a lot of great opportunity and a lot of stability with the state of California. What exactly are the benefits for working for the state? Well, we all fall under the CalPERS pension plan. It's the largest public pension plan in the nation. We also have Savings Plus plans. So if you want to contribute any additional money towards a retirement fund, whether it's like a Roth or a 401 or something along those lines, you can always set that up additionally for your long-term investing or retirement goals. We all have comprehensive health, dental, and vision. That's great for yourself, also for your family members. Employee assistance programs, if you need just kind of one-on-one support, whether it's counseling services or any additional services, the state will provide that service to you directly. You can all qualify for paid trainings if you want to work on your professional development. CalHR hosts a whole series of additional trainings for you that you can, kind of put in your toolkit. So those are available for you as well. And holidays, sick leave, vacation, and military leave, all additional time off and benefits that are valuable to you. We all enjoy our downtime and our personal time as well. So that's an additional great benefit to have. I mentioned military leave, but if you're still serving in the reserves, but there's also the Wounded Warriors Transitional Leave Act. If you apply for a state job and you get hired, and at the time of your hiring, you have a 30% disability rating, you automatically get 96 hours of sick leave to be used for treatment of that service-connected disability. This is just a great benefit and kind of a thank you to veterans who have a service-connected disability that just allows them that time off the bat instead of having to accrue that 96 hours. It's right there for to use right when you get started. Okay, so we're going to kind of take some time to walk through the state employment process and kind of how to get started with that. So just a quick overview of how it works, applying for the state. It is a merit-based system conducted of basically 5 steps. So you can create a profile for yourself, apply for your veteran's preference. We're going to walk through how to search for actual job postings and exactly talk a little bit about what is an assessment or an exam for that job or for that classification, and just kind of how to apply for those open positions and a little bit more about the hiring process. So to get started, let's say this is our first time. We're logging into CalCareers to create an account for ourselves. So we would go to the CalCareers webpage. This is their main page. And you can go right up there to the top where it says create an account or log in. And this will bring you to the main landing page for your CalCareers profile. This allows you to put in all of your contact information, your name. This will create a CalCareer ID for you. You always just want to make sure this is all up to date with your contact information so that hiring managers can contact you directly. This is also where you can store all of your personal information, whether it's your application templates, your resumes, additional qualifications or certifications that you have. That also allows you to save any job search if you want to kind of save it, archive it, and then come back to it when you're ready to hit apply. You can always do that as well. So just as you always want to make sure this is up to date you're utilizing this effectively. So we've created a profile for ourselves. Now we want to actually search for state jobs. We want to find employment. So you can search for vacancies through I recommend the advanced job search. This allows you to search for a specific department that you'd want to work for, a certain classification, or your county or location that you want to work for. So you can really narrow down your job search by using the tabs in the advanced job search. So if we click through there, that would bring us to the classifications that are eligible to apply for. So we just want to, for example, bring up this classification, which is Associate Governmental Program Analyst. This is kind of a general job classification with the state in the analyst category. So also what you really want to take note of right there on the right-hand side is that final filing deadline. You want to make note of that date because after that date closes at 11:59 p.m. on that date, you are not able to apply for that job anymore. So let's say we want to find out more about this position, right? This AGPA is the acronym for it. That is just the broad classification, but there's multiple types of working titles that fall under that classification. So I myself am a training coordinator, so that would be my working title, even though AGPA would be my state classification. So let's find out more, right? So we clicked on that AGPA job title, and that would bring us to the job control or the job bulletin, essentially. So on this announcement, you're going to see basically a 1-paragraph description of the job duties. It's going to kind of, tell you a basic high-level overview of what that job entails. But what you really want to do is you want to focus on that icon right there in the middle that says duty statement. So if we clicked on that duty statement, that would bring us to a really, kind of in-depth breakdown of what exactly your job duties will be, to a T. It's going to say, 30% of the time you're expected to do this, 20% of the time, so on and so on, all the way, that's going to round out to 100% of your duties. So you really want to make note of all of the language that's used in this duty statement. And you really want to apply that to your direct experience and how that experience relates to the job you're applying for. So it's really important to understand the terminology that's in this duty statement. Whether you kind of have to make notes or highlight to really show a hiring manager that you've read and understand, the duties and the requirements and how you can translate that back and relate it to your direct experience and apply that to the job specifically. That is kind of a big aspect of state employment, is really tying in all of your experience. All right, so we've read the duty statement and we want to apply for the job, but we then have to obtain eligibility to apply for that job classification. So let's go to, I want to obtain eligibility. And what that is going to do, that's going to allow you to search for and take a civil service examination for that job classification. So you're, deciding what exam or what, assessment you could take based on your qualifications. So this is just a snapshot of some of the job classifications that you could be eligible to apply for right off the bat, just based on your level of education, right? So let's say that you have a 4-year degree from an accredited school. So right off the bat, regardless of your experience, you're eligible to apply for the classifications under there. And one of those is that Associate Governmental Program Analyst. And if you have any other additional type of education, whether you're still working towards a two-year degree or you're recently out of high school, these are just some of the jobs that you can apply for right off the bat. What exactly is the exam that you're going to be taking? Well, it is a process to evaluate your education experience, knowledge, skills, and ability. I would call it more of a self-assessment rather than a right or wrong, true or false exam. It's just going to ask you a series of questions about your experience. And the way that you basically assess yourself and your own experience, that's going to determine what score or what your ranking is for that exam. So I would always encourage you to, you know, always kind of give yourself the benefit of the doubt when it comes to your experience. Maybe you're kind of on the borderline of, you know, a certain criteria that they're asking for. You know, of course, you don't want to fabricate your experience, but you also just want to make sure that you're giving yourself credit where credit is due. So again, it's going to be more of a self-assessment, and the questions that they answer you are going to align with how you're ranked coming out of that exam. So let's talk a little bit about how veterans preference works for the state of California. So like I mentioned, you'll be given a score whenever you take that exam. So it's, you know, out of 100% in your percentile. So basically, if you're a veteran, and if you obtain a passing score on that exam, no matter what your ranking is, you're automatically moved to the top ranking of that exam. And when hiring managers go to pick from their pool of candidates, they're going to want to pick from whoever's in that top ranking. So this is just a great way to kind of get your foot in the door. It doesn't guarantee you a specific job or a specific interview, but you will be in that top tier, and you're going to get looked at first for your application package. So it's another great benefit to take advantage of. So additionally, outside of your actual application, outside of your veterans preference, and even possibly outside of your resume, the state is going to ask for what is called a statement of qualifications. And a statement of qualifications, or the SOQ, is a narrative description of your knowledge, skills, and abilities. These questions that they're going to ask you are usually down at the bottom of that job bulletin or that job announcement. And it's going to ask you maybe 3 or 4 specific questions about your experience. And it is really important that you follow those directions precisely, even down to the font size or the margin size, and the page length and criteria, because it is basically just an attention to detail assignment. You know, hiring managers they're going to want to see that you're able to read the question, comprehend the question, and then answer that question in writing effectively. So this doesn't take place of a resume or any additional information that may be asked during the interview process. So you always want to make sure you read this specifically, always refer to that duty statement, and then use that duty statement's terminology to tie it back into your own experience, and then translate that to your statement of qualifications. I would also recommend utilizing the military skills translator through CalCareers. If you are going to be writing any type of statement of qualifications, and really, you know, relying on your military experience to translate that over into a state job or any job, really. So this is also available through CalCareers. Definitely encourage you to kind of navigate these resources as well. All right, so we've kind of walked through the whole process, right? And then so we've submitted all of our information, and if we do get contacted for a hiring interview, and hopefully we all do, before you go in, you always, again, want to study that job announcement and that duty statement. Very important. Of course, you always want to do your own research, and you want to, you know, do your research on that department, some of the work that department does, and a little bit maybe more specifically about that job that you're applying for. Of course, you always want to do your own research. I mentioned this a few times, but always relate your experience and knowledge to those essential duties and qualifications, and really just to follow all of the instructions as they're given to you. So these are just some additional resources. If you just wanted to take a snapshot of everything that we talked about today, there's state resources, federal resources as well, resources for CalHR, so you can always reach out or just connect with us directly, and we'd be happy to link you to either one of these. All right. So that covers the CalTAP employment pathway. So at this time, I would like to turn it over to Jason Bailey, who's joining us from Work for Warriors, and he's going to talk a little bit more about some of the work that they do, and how they can connect veterans to jobs and provide them assistance. So Jason, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Derek. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your service. A little quick background about myself. My name is Jason Bailey. I am the Southern California liaison for an organization called Work for Warriors. And a little bit of background about that. Excuse me. Prior service active duty veteran with the Air Force, currently still serving in the Army National Guard. And so back in 2012, the Army National Guard, the Adjutant General, excuse me, I can't talk this morning, Major General Baldwin, he had noticed there was an increase in unemployment in his rank and file with his National Guard, Army, and Air soldiers and airmen. So he created a team to try and combat that. Our goal in the first year was to reduce the unemployment rate by 25% across the state of California, and we crushed that goal. So we severely exceeded it, and since then, for the past 10 years, we've done nothing but rise and try and provide the best services we can for our veteran community. Next slide, please. All right, so our mission is to reduce candidate unemployment and underemployment, and we have noticed that our efforts help improve candidate quality of life. So for those who are transitioning out of the active duty, helping find that job, hopefully before you end your terminal leave, or if you're in a reserve or a guard status, helping balance that work life with your military obligations, finding that civilian employment that you enjoy. We find that improves retention for those who are still in. If your spouse is working at home, more often than not, you're going to want to re-enlist because everyone in the home is happy, they're working, they do what they like. So who's eligible? Like I was stating, everyone transitioning out of the active duty. So all branches, all components, Army, Air, Coast Guard, Navy, Marines, yes, even the Coasties and the Space Force as well. Doesn't matter your component either. So active, retiree, National Guard, reservists, and we even assist the state California Guard. Veterans or retirees, disaster survivors. We had a big hand in with the Chico and a lot of the wildfires that have occurred over the past decade, helping find employment for those who have been displaced. We have a program with the National Guard where we assist at-risk youth, and of course, family members of all the above. We feel the military is a giant family, so we don't want to exclude those who served in their own capacity as a military family member. Next slide, please. So what is it that we do? So we follow a direct placement model that mirrors a corporate headhunter staffing firm, if you will. We don't like the term staffing agency because we are the complete opposite. Instead of just placing you anywhere, we're going to try and help lay out a career pathway. If you need to find a job immediately, we can do that. Or if you want to kind of help lay the foundation for what you want to do 5 to 10 years from now, we can do that as well. And all that includes, so resume critique and writing tips, like Derek was talking about, having those different types of resumes, being able to, set up your master resume and pull from that to target your experience for those job applications. And then we can assist with whether writing a chronological, a functional, all those different types of resumes to include federal as well. And we like to tell our candidates that we're not going to write the resume for you. And if anyone says they'll write the resume for you, I would steer clear of that. What we do at Work for Warriors is we teach you the tools and the skills to actually know how to target that resume, how to read that duty statement and that statement of qualifications like Derek was talking about, and being able to highlight and target your experience to that job description. We assist with interview preparation and practice. I know from my personal experience on active duty, not a lot of interviews. I know we had boards for, the awards or for promotions, things of that nature. But outside of that, you really don't get a lot of face-to-face interview experience. So Work for Warriors can go over that with you, gives you some tips and tricks, and even, do mock interviews with you to help get your confidence up and everything. We do recommendations and referrals with our partners. So like I said, we follow that direct placement. So what we do is we go out into the community and we find organizations and companies that are looking to hire veterans. We have a conversation with them. We try to figure out exactly what type of candidate they're looking for. So that way we can portray you in that best light. So after we get done working with you on your resume and we feel like everything's good to go and dress, we'll have you apply through the company's website. Once you apply there, we're going to actually reach out and call, text, email, smoke signals, whichever, to get in touch with our POC and say, hey, John Smith just applied for position XYZ at your organization. Here's a copy of his resume. What can we do to get him an interview? And we advocate for you. And instead of waiting for the company to find your resume, we just put yours right in front of them on their desk so you can get eyes on first. Kind of helps expedite the process as well. We also do social imaging workshops, so helping clean up your online image. It is 2023. Everyone's got a face tweet and a snap book and all these other TikToks and this and that. Employers are checking these. They may not tell you they're going to check them, but employers will look on your Facebook if you're in line for a competitive position with them. They'll check your Instagram, your Twitter, all that. So we can assist with helping clean up that image. We can also help get that LinkedIn started if you don't have one already, to help market you better in your community. And also veterans get a free year of LinkedIn Premium, which is very useful to use. I can get everyone the resource on that if they need, or if they want to look into signing up on that. Jesus. We also do industry specific workshops and trainings. So we have our own in-house workshops that we do, like the resume workshop, the social imaging workshops. And then we have partners that we've partnered with throughout the community, across state of California, that provide free training. So we have one that is located in Northern California. You can get your free project management professional certification. We have organizations that assist with getting OSHA 10, Lean Six Sigma, Yellow and Green Belt, all different types of trainings that are available to you. And we try and get these for free 99, because we are a state and federally funded program. So everything we do is free of charge. So we don't want the veteran to have to come out of pocket to get these trainings. And then we also have hiring events. We're at all the job fairs on the active installations. I know myself, I'm down here in the San Diego area. So, we're at Point Loma, we're at Miramar, we're at Pendleton, we're at North Island, all over the place, to include up in LA, El Segundo Space Force, Travis Air Force Base, Edwards Air Force Base, Fort Irwin. So, always on the road, going to hiring events. And from time to time, we even host our own hiring events. You can get signed up for our newsletter in our distro to find out more about that. But next slide, please. Whoa.
Sorry, Jason, fumbled my fingers over here. 1 second.
No worries. All right, so here we are, the main potatoes of it all. You can find us online at www.workforwarriors.org. That's going to take you to our main website right there. On this main homepage, you can learn a little bit more about the history. You can meet the team, kind of see the numbers and all of our contact information. But the majority of it's going to be at that Find a Career tab. So next slide. Once you click that Find a Career tab, it's going to take you to our job board, which is very similar to Indeed, Monster, ZipRecruiter, all of those. The only difference is these jobs are tailored for veterans and their family members. Also with this, you can still create your own profile, upload your resume, all that. But what makes this a little bit more unique is whenever you do apply for a job, you're not going to actually have that resume get sent directly to the employer. It's going to go to myself or one of my team members across the state, and that way we can work with you on your resume. We actually get the chance to talk face to face with you, or virtual, to help translate that military experience, to kind of figure out what it is you're looking for. If you're looking for just a part-time job while you go to school, or looking for something full-time, that way we can try and create a tailored experience for you. Next slide, please. Once you find a job you like I said, very similar to Indeed, it's going to include the job title, the job number, where it's located, the salary if it is provided, the open and close date for the position, so you know how long you have to get your application in. And then each company has their own profile, so you can kind of learn a little bit more about the organization that you would be working for. Next slide, please. So we do have a couple physical locations right now. So our headquarters is located in Sacramento at the Okinawa Armory. You can always stop by there. We have another office down here in the Southern California area at Los Alamitos Detachment. That is at the Joint Force Training Base in Los Alamitos in Orange County. And there is my office. You can find us down here in San Diego at the 79th IBCT headquarters on Mesa College Drive down here in San Diego. And we also have, I want to say, about 20 team members spread across the state, working virtual And we're working on getting some more real estate for those other locations. But we have people spread all across the state who have a pulse to the ground in their local area and can provide, training, resources, and job placement in that specific area. Next slide, please. Since our inauguration, if you will, in 2012, like I said, Work for Warriors has expanded in the last 10, 11 years. We've grown to 15 other states and are working to try and secure the remaining of the 50 states. But this just creates a handoff, if you will. So, if you're staying in California for now, fantastic. We love to have you in the California veteran community. But if you are looking to, to move, to go back to your home of record, we do have all these states on the left-hand sides where we can provide accommodating a warm handoff, if you will. So start working with companies out in that area. And then once you're ready to put boots on ground over there, we can do that handoff with our POCs and those other states. Next slide, please. Right here is just a kind of a quick snapshot of who we work with. This is a just small tidbit. We work with over 400 and I believe 38 companies across the state of California and the country. So we've got Tesla, we've got Caltrans. So a lot of those state positions that Derek was talking about, Cal Fire, those are all fantastic opportunities. I work for the state myself with the California Military Department. Don't leave working for the state off the table. It is fantastic. But we have a lot of county agencies as well: San Diego, Sacramento, Riverside, Orange. You name the county, we are there. Cedars-Sinai, G4S, Cintas, SpaceX. What I'd like to tell people is, if in your job search, if you want to spray vegetables at Stater Brothers, I got a guy I can call for you. Or if you want to be a program manager at a Fortune 500 company, we've got points of contacts to make that happen as well. Next slide, please. So reach out, connect with us online. I believe our Facebook is still down at this point, but you can connect with us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Next slide. And then this is our main office location. So this website, that's our main website, that apply@workforwarriors.org. You can email that to get in contact with your local VSC. They'll be able to direct you to that point of contact. This number right here will get you either the Sacramento office or the San Diego. It goes to both, depending on who picks up first. But I am going to, never mind, there it is. Thank you right there. My information was just dropped in the chat. So if you're in the Southern California area, I run basically Ventura all the way down to San Diego. So if you have any employment needs or questions, reach out to me directly for the Southern California. And even if you're Northern, reach out to me as well. I can get you in contact with our Northern POCs. So again, thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your service, and pending any questions, that's my slide.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. Really appreciate it. A lot of great information there to kind of put in our toolkits. So really appreciate it. All right. So we're going to kind of open it up for any additional questions that have come in, whether they're through the Q&A. But this is everybody, once again, contact information. So you can always reach out to anybody directly, whether you want to follow up on anything that we spoke about today or connect with anybody one-on-one, feel free to reach out to us directly. Jana has been monitoring our Q&A. My colleague Jana, there she is. So how's that Q&A looking, Jana? Anything that we need to go over?
There was just a couple questions that were dropped in there. Cole was able to answer them, answer one of them, and I answered one myself. One of them, I'll just go over them briefly in case anybody else had these questions. One of the questions was, do home loans have options for wildfire insurance? And while Cole was able to answer your question, the more basics on it is, if you're wanting our insurance, you do actually have to use the Calvet home loan and purchase the insurance at the same time that you're buying the home. So if you have a Calvet home loan, you could certainly contact our home loans division, or if you have any questions about our home loans division and what all that insurance entails, go ahead and contact them. I'm going to go ahead and drop Brad's information in as soon as I'm done talking about these questions. Or you can always contact us and we can go over everything in more detail with you. Somebody also asked if there are any veteran services for being discriminated as a veteran for employment. There are certainly providers out there. DOL puts out a lot of really great information about that. As far for that, I dropped a link for an information sheet, but if you have questions directly, contact us and I'd be more than happy to go over that with you. And then it looks like a couple other questions have been coming in. Can we get a copy of this recording? Yes. So this is going to go to it will be posted on our YouTube channel in, usually takes maybe 3 to 5 business days. So sometime by the end of next week, it should go right to our YouTube channel. I'll go ahead and drop the link for that. That way you can see that next week. Okay, been looking for a Cal Careers job for 18 months now since I retired. Unfortunately, no luck. I have applied for telecommunications position. Can you guys recommend or advocate? So it would, we're more than happy to talk to you about what you're putting on your application and your resume. Sometimes it kind of depends on that. It depends on, unfortunately, every job you apply for is different. So like Derek was saying, sometimes there's different kinds of questions and answers, like the statement of qualifications you have to answer. So we'd be more than happy to help you out with any of the jobs you're applying for. We don't really have an advocate at the state that we can say like, contact this person and they'll help you directly. For a second. We're certainly more than happy to help you. You can contact either Derek or I directly, or our contacts, our CalTAP email, or you can also contact Jason at Work for Warriors too. He'd be more than happy to help with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jana, depending on the department that that they have applied for, I know we do have points of contact in each department where we're working on trying to get a main point of contact for each state department. But depending on, like I said, which section he applied for, we may be able to, like you said, work with him on his resume, maybe hammer down that SOQ and everything, and then, you know, reapply. And then hopefully we have someone on the inside that I can kind of make that handoff to. So more to follow.
Okay, so another question is, are these resources helpful for people seeking a post-retirement career? And I mean, absolutely, I think so. So I know we primarily talked about how to get a state or federal job, but really a lot of those tips are good for any interview or any resume you're filling out. So if you're kind of if you're wanting to know kind of what direction to start in, we'd be more than happy to kind of talk about that with you and navigate it. Also, Work for Warriors would be a really great place for you to reach out to as well. That's kind of their wheelhouse of kind of placing people in the right careers. I don't know if you want to expand on that anymore, Jason, or not, but.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's all dependent. That's why we like to connect with the candidate first. So this is for Lee. You know, shoot me an email, and, you know, because we try and match with specific situations. You know, we have multiple different, you know, pathways you can go, if you will. Whether it's, you know, if you want to do just some kind of part-time work just to keep you busy, get you out of the house, or if you're looking like, hey, I did my 20, you know, and I retired, but I still need to work full time. Depending on the situation, we can help steer in the right direction. So just shoot me an email, and we can go from there.
Great. Someone asked, let's see. Something about being, can you apply for a state job if you were previously employed by another state agency? Absolutely. This is the 4th department that I've worked for. I think I want to stay at Calvet now for a long time. I love it here. I love the job I'm doing, but yes, you can absolutely apply for multiple jobs. Let's see the next question. Okay, is there a minimum number of military service years to qualify for these services? I'm sorry, if employed by another government agency, federal or city. There isn't a military service qualification because anybody can apply for federal and state jobs. It's going to be more of exactly what your background is, fitting you with the job that fits your background the best. Hopefully that answers that question. Are there resources for veterans who applied being discriminated against based on an arrest record with no conviction? Yes, and actually I think Cole or somebody posted, well, 1 second here. Somebody posted a link to, and everybody should be able to see this in the answered questions. There's the National Veterans Legal Services Program, and they help with that. I'll put that link in the chat as well after I'm done with this, but you could probably contact them. I'm not quite sure what the specifications are with or without an arrest record. You would need to ask them directly. I think that's it. I think we hit all of them.
Good stuff. Great questions.
Yeah. I'll let you know if there are any others come up.
Okay, thanks, Jana. So just lastly, I just wanted to give you this QR code for our survey again. I already mentioned we do really value your feedback. Just want to make sure that our trainings and our presentations are valuable and useful to you as an audience. So we can drop the actual link for this in the chat before we go. But if you do have your phone out right now, you can just pull it out and scan that, and it'll bring you to like a 2 or 3 question survey about today's event. We also have some upcoming events coming down the pipeline here for the rest of June and going into July. Pretty much all of these are virtually. That Presidio event is actually for the members who are stationed there at that military base. But you can always, follow along virtually and just make sure that you're connected with us through whether it's our newsletter or reaching out to us directly through email so that you can stay up to date for all of these and register for each one of these events as we're going forward. Just wanted to say one last thank you to everybody joining us today. Cole, Jason, Jana, thanks for taking those questions, and all of our partners that we work with. So thanks for your time. Thanks to everybody for joining in today's group. It was a big group, a lot of great questions, a lot of great feedback. So thank you all. And we hope that this was valuable information to you. So thank you for your service. Any family members that are joining us as well, we hope to see you on later down the road. So with that, have a great rest of your week and take care.
Hey, Derek, before we go, I think we had just a couple more questions that I saw pop up.
Oh, I see. Okay, let's take a look.
Yeah. And actually, Jason, I was going to maybe try to have you expand on one of them if possible. One of them asked about, it was about SkillBridge, and let me pull that up really quick. Okay. They were saying, I'm wondering about CalVet and Work for Warriors SkillBridge opportunities into guaranteed hired positions, such as what Hiring Our Heroes provides. Is this service provided? And when I answered the question, I said, oh gosh, Work for Warriors does help out with SkillBridge. Please contact Jason directly. But did you want to expand on that a little bit? I'm sure other people have that.
Yes. So a lot of the organizations that Work for Warriors partners with, they do provide SkillBridge opportunities, just depending on the company and the location of it. But we do have a lot of SkillBridge opportunities on the portion of guaranteed. If it's stated in the contract for that specific SkillBridge that you'll walk into a position after that is, completed, then it's kind of a case-by-case basis. Work for Warriors, we have to, always state that we can't guarantee any placement. We can greatly increase your chances with creating, getting those resumes, dress right dress and assisting that way. I'll have to get a compiled list of all of our actual SkillBridge opportunities. If there's a specific one you had in mind, just shoot me an email directly and I can get that answer for you. Where did it go? There was another one that I saw on here.
Oh, I think it said, how can you apply for green belt, yellow belt training? That's probably.
Yes, so there's 2 ways you can look up VTS, Veteran Transitional Support. That is the organization that does it. Or you can just email me and I can shoot you the link on that. I believe they previously were virtual and then they went back to in-person. If it is an in-person event, just to give you a heads up, this is located in San Diego, in the San Marcos location. So they do have some virtual training events that you can attend. Some of them are in person though. So depending on which course it is, that might differ. But reach out directly to me and shoot me an email and I can get you the link for that. And I think that was all of them.
I think that's it. Yes.
All right. Great job, everyone. Well, great. I just want to say thanks again. Thanks for joining us. And with that, we'll go ahead and conclude for the day. So everybody take care and we'll see you again down the road.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
All right.